Hi guys, welcome back to my amazing kitchen. And if you are new here, please click on that subscribe button right now and become part of the amazing family today. Also turn on your notifications so you would be notified anytime I upload a new video. Today we are cooking some delicious garden egg stew, so let's get right into it. As always, all the ingredients will be listed in the description box below with the correct quantities, but we have some beautiful garden eggs, some smoked mackerel, kobi, some shallots, and you can find the rest down below. So to start with our stew, I'm going to rinse my garden eggs very quickly, and you always want to rinse your vegetables in vinegar solution before you preserve them, and that's done. That's why I'm just giving them a quick rinse. I'm also going to cut them into two for faster cooking and set them aside. I move on with my kobi and give it a very good rinse with some warm water to get rid of the excess salt. Afterwards, I'm going to soak it in some hot water just to get rid of all the excess salt. Now I transfer my washed garden eggs into my cooking pot and add enough water and bring it to a boil, and I'm going to boil this until it becomes very soft and tender. Whilst my garden eggs are boiling, I'm going to prep my tomatoes. I'm going to chop them up. If you want, you can also use blended tomatoes, but I'm going for a lazy day kind of garden egg stew, so chopping them is perfectly fine for me. Now I transfer my chopped tomatoes into a bowl and set it aside for later. In the meantime, I check back on my garden eggs and it is cooking very beautifully. So moving on, I'm going to start with the stew, and so I've added just a little bit of some olive oil into my pot, and I'm going to add half of my sliced onions. I'm going to use the half later on. And I'm going to fry this for some minutes and then go ahead and add my momoni or momoni, which is my fermented fish. Normally, I would love to use palm oil to make this stew, but where I live, good palm oil is difficult to find, so this works for me. Add your blended ginger, garlic, onion, and peppers. But you can also replace this with my homemade all-purpose marinade if you have that, and continue to fry the mixture for about 3 minutes. After that, you want to go ahead and add your chopped tomatoes or blended tomatoes if that's what you are using. Give it a good stir, cover and allow it to cook gently until the tomatoes become very soft. In the meantime, I'm going to prep my mackerel, so I take off the skin and I'm going to break them apart into chunks, but also try to take out the bones as much as possible. I'm not going to get all of them out, but at least I will try to get most of them out. I check back on my stew and it is cooking beautifully, but we are not there yet, so I'm going to cover and allow it to cook. In the meantime, our garden eggs are also cooked and very soft, so I'm going to drain it, set it aside and allow it to cool down slightly. At this point, add half of your flaked mackerel and reserve the rest for later. And you want to stir this together. The mackerel is going to break apart and it is going to infuse its flavor into the stew. The garden eggs are cooled down slightly, so I have some cold water in my bowl. I'm going to try to separate the seeds from the meat or the flesh of the garden eggs and grind the seeds separately from the meat. Now I know it may seem like it's a lot of work, but in the end it's very rewarding. Add the seeds of the garden eggs to your asanka and let your abasa do the work. Your arm is really going to hurt, but trust me, it's going to be very rewarding in the end. And if you can't do this, just put it in your blender and grind it until it becomes very smooth. You can tell mine is not even that smooth, and that is perfectly fine. Now add the flesh of the garden eggs to it and grind it together. I don't want mine too smooth, I want a bit of texture to it, but you can make it as smoother or as chunky as you would like. Add your blended garden eggs to your tomato base and mix everything together. Because we are using very little oil, once the garden eggs are mixed in, you will realize that the oil is not visible. It's still there, but you just can't see it because it's very little. So I rinsed my asanka and added just a little bit of water to it to loosen it up. Up until this point, I haven't added any salt, so I'm going to taste and then add salt. Add to your taste because there is momoni and I have kobi, and the smoked mackerel is also salty, so you want to be very careful with your salt. Set your heat to the lowest setting so it remains warm whilst we fry our remaining onions in some palm oil, and add a little bit of momoni to it. Palm oil in this part of the world just doesn't taste nice, so using oil to cook the stew and topping it with palm oil like this works for me. So as soon as the momoni is dissolved, we are done and it's time to finish off our stew. So I add the stew into my serving dish and then drizzle over the palm oil that we just fried our onions in. And this will make it very tasty. It's practically just like abom, just that the garden eggs was stewed. I love cooking my garden egg stew this way because I can still get that authentic Ghanaian flavor and taste even with a very not so good tasting palm oil, and it works perfect for me every time. So if you haven't tried making your garden egg stew this way before, try it and I know you will love it. I finally topped my stew with my kobi, my eggs, and my mackerel I reserved. And of course, if you're on this channel, you know that ampesi without avocado is a no. So this garden eggs is about to go down with some boiled eggs, but you can have it with some plantain or any ampesi of your choice. So until I come your way next time with another amazingly delicious recipe, cook this garden egg stew with so much love and see it radiate through the hearts of your family. Thank you so much for watching, guys, and see you in my next video. Bye!